want to talk about this. They were famous that nuance, right? That there is a major war, right? You could argue there's a major war between Muslims versus like the Jews with Israel, right? But there's other conflicts going on, tribal or sectarian, like Shia stuff. And I'm glad you mentioned that because those are all part of it. It's not about. I'm not saying this to take the blame off Israel. None of that. I'm just saying that all these things are happening at the same time. That's why I like talking to people on Clubhouse. Thank you.
I think it's fascinating. To see that how Donald Trump had been able to equity speech, right? It shows the strength of that consistent.
I think it's fascinating the fact that you think you have the right to the land and you're not even fucking Jewish.
No, it's fascinating to think that you can actually think.
Oh.
That's good. Back to something. The point is, you see,
no one cares what you think, or no one cares.
Everybody, you have to say what you say. So the point is saying that you see the strength of the American system. And this is the reason why we talk about American dominance. And we're not just talking about this idea of like some change, but rather giving them instruments of change, right? So for example, Trump wanted to go further, but he said, you know what, let's take this victory and let's get out of there. Midterm elections are coming up. I don't want the Democrats to weaponize this war, blah, 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 blah. So let's get in and out. We did damage and everything's good, right? Because we need to keep our congressional seats. So the point is saying this is the power of the American system. And no single authority, right, is going to be able to be a dictator, right? And I think that's what you
talk about dictators. Like Rabbi, you use the words power and dominate, and what was the other word you used? Anyway, something like that. And then the thing is, you're all about this dominating, authoritative, taking over, having others submit to you, and you try to, and it's as if you're doing it yourself, but you're not. You're only a cog in the machine. You're not relevant in the grand scheme of things. But you want to make yourself relevant.
That's how he becomes president. It's the same mechanism of the United States government, the most powerful force in the world. And I say,
Power.
You guys should not be scared of American dominance. In fact, American dominance frees the Muslim, right? Frees the African, right? So this dynamic of fear of American power, this is like colonialist, greatness. And no, we come in with the free market system, we come in with music, we come with fashion, we come with the technology, we come with
music, fashion, Black Rabbi, technology, like the world is creating their technologies now.
He's not talking music. This guy mentioned music, he has been taught dancing, I should fashion, he's not the president.
You can't dance, you can't dress.
You like, but you gotta be on that line, bringing music, bringing fashion. Now, if I'm saying on TV that the American public understands that, see, you're laughing at me. The people that are actually talking to on television, they're gonna understand that line. That's gonna mean something. Right?
We'll try it, test it out, see if it passes, and then come back and let us know.
Here, let me give you an example. Like in the I don't know what era it was, but if you notice, like around hip hop music, they never used lyrics like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Versace. That was all a rule for the like luxury branding to not go bankrupt. So if you notice, like all of a sudden, in all these rap songs, have like these designer labels, and who's the second richest man that in the world is the gentleman who owns LVMH, Louis Vuitton, which is like a lot of brands under it. And so yeah, they do use branding and fashion to manipulate it to get these billionaires even richer. So
and that's not even an American company, Black Rabbi. That's not even an American company. Yeah.
That's a very important point. The beauty of the American system is we don't have to own everything. I don't think Trump's nerves give that impression. But the fact that you're participating in consumerism, that's it. That's the war. Once you agree to consumerism, we have value society.
Speaking of consumerism, can you buy me a mic? That would be nice. And buy it from China. They make better quality mics than what you can find here in the U.S.
But what are your thoughts back to Iran and America, like the whole planning purpose, right? So if you look at it after a week of bombing, I mean, obviously America's going to provide missiles and weapons, provide funding for the war. Where China and Russia agreed with Iran. So do you think that was a threat, or like, do you think that plays a role in that?
Was that a question towards me or someone else?
No, just everybody in general. Because I feel like
anyone with a mic.
You said Iran what again? Sorry again?
I was saying how like when they came to an agreement, like China and Russia, would support Iran once they went into war longer. But if you realize like America will be like providing nuclear weapons and all that stuff, they don't lose anything. If anything, it's the taxpayer money, right? Or do you think it was a threat for like the Trump administration when China and Russia agreed with Iran? What do you guys think?
Trump would agree. I don't know if you heard in the middle, like, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, right, during this Ukraine war, whatever, a lot of people were saying is Trump is begging to put the Russian leader. So, I don't know, what are you gonna, was it you or something, remember, we talked about this, right, about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something.
About Ukraine,
Trump was like pretty much on his knees for Russian leader, right?
Yeah, well, Trump foolishly made it a campaign promise that got him into the presidency, and then of course Russia, is maximizing that leverage, and so and despite what the West says and the U.S. says how Russia is losing, if it's losing, why is Russia in Ukraine, not the other way around? And why is Russia not, and they are offering to sit down with Ukraine. I don't think Russia wants to give the win to Trump, is what the issue is. I don't think that they want Trump in the middle. They want they want to go through Ukraine directly. So it's, and keep in mind it was the U.S. that stopped the ceasefire agreement between the two countries in 2022, along with Germany. They were sitting down. Russia gave them a great offer. They kept one of the provinces at their border that is Russian, basically. And, as long as they didn't join NATO, there would be no war. They would stop the war. And Zelensky initialed the ceasefire agreement. It's like hundreds of pages long. Permanent agreement, by the way. And you initial it, and then you sign the whole thing. Before he signed it, the U.S. and Germans got involved and told him, no, we'll give you all the weapons, all the money, everything you need to go to war with Russia. And it was just to keep Russia busy. It was just to keep them busy, because Russia is aligned with China. And so, but that's nearing its end. There's no more fight in that war left. Here's something I didn't hear on here. This is from a friend of mine. Her brother went to Poland to visit his family, and she was worried about him, and he came back. But and I don't know why. I gotta look this up. I forgot to look this up. Their forcing people outside of Poland, Polish people that come to visit, they're forcing everybody, conscripting them into the military in Poland for some reason. I'm not sure why.
You think they're preparing them for a possible war with Russia?
I mean, you know, people say
NATO already declared NATO basically in many ways is the language. If you look at the German Council or whatever, their language is that, that NATO in essence is one of them. You know what I mean? Like that's like it's not said, it's not exactly. I mean they are funding Ukraine right now. I mean that's pretty much a declaration of war. The question is expanding if they're gonna go and get rid of Putin constantly.
you know, it's easy to say this country is going to go to war with this country, A is going to go to war with B, but Poland is a large, fairly developed country, and they have to weigh the risk. Do they want their infrastructure destroyed? You know, because if it's destroyed, there's nobody out there that's going to help them rebuild. Like, unlike Israel, you know, they don't have an American backer, they don't have an infinite amount of money to pour into their country. So I don't think they'll go to war.
American money.
Yeah, I said, you know, I didn't say fully developed, you know.
No, it is. It's like it's yeah, seriously.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. I didn't know. A fully developed country, the more developed you are as a nation, and of course, depending on your size, I mean, it's a fairly large country, the more you have to lose. I mean, it would just, you don't even have to, Poland, like, you don't have to beat Poland. You can just, you just destroy enough of their, you know, infrastructure, you destroy their economy, you destroy Poland. That's just for any country. So it's not that easy that, oh, this country will go to war with that country. You know, even if you win, you can still be destroyed.
No, but I agree with you. What I'm saying now is just like it's a massive consolidation of power and interests, right? So I'm just saying, like, and this is a sad thing. Like, you guys talk about Iran and you guys are defending them and saying this is crazy. But the reality is, like, everybody wants peace, right? All the Gulf states.
No, we just defend any country that attacks Israel.
Yeah, that's it.
Fuck Israel.
So Israel's official piece is firing at Iran first.
That
Makes sense.
No.
Well, when it came to Gaza before this war here, to warn people that they're going to bomb a building, that apartment building. Hold on a second, hold on. Teddy, to warn them before they drop the big bomb, they would drop a small bomb on the building. I'm not even joking. And they call that's a warning. That's a warning bomb for people to leave the building before they drop the big bomb on the building. And so if everybody leaves the building, then why are you bombing the building to begin with? But anyways, I mean, I just found that. You call it the knocker.
The point is, it's saying the Gulf states all want peace, right? Jordan,
It will happen without Israel.
Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Israel, everybody was unified. The only people
Not unified. They don't want to be one nation. What are you talking about?
Israel's like that kid in the playground. It's not welcome in any circle in Ukraine.
You know, he's like that. He's like that dirty old uncle that
You know those people like doing anything to be friends with a group of popular kids. Right? That's what Israel's like.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But the point I'm saying is still, Syria wants to be. Syria and Israel are in communication every day. They're normalizing. It's happening. Two, Egypt are already partners, right? Already partners, right? And then now you have the people in Qatar who have joined anti, right? They're joining the party with the UAE and Bahrain. So I mean, they're joining that party. We're going to have a Middle East that's completely unified. We have to get
You're forgetting something, Black Rabbi. Saudi Arabia is not going to join until there is a solution for the Palestinians to have their own.
This BS.
That's it. This is where you're.
I know that.
this is where your peace theory falls apart. Because you're fine with peace with other people, but then you're fine with massacring human beings. And so
you see how you took my position.
It's definitely like, you know that type of, it's the same as Hitler, right? That's what I'm saying. Let's not peace in the country. Let's wait till it happen in last days.
I wanna point out that
and it's not BS either, because this is what Saudi Arabia's position has been for like 2 years now.
Yeah, they're doing business with everybody. It's working. Okay, but I'm saying
they're not joining the Abraham Accords until and Trump said this other day. And Netanyahu said this other day.
Yeah,
everybody knows this, but you don't know this.
Let's talk. Let's just talk.
No, you have wishful thinking.
Partners.
See, you don't want the Palestinians to have their own, and you have this wishful thinking that we're not going.
Why do I have anything against the Palestinians? Why are you saying that?
Because you.
Why are you saying?
So evil.
You don't, of course, you don't think I think you're decent. Of course I do.
Yeah, okay, but this is the root of your argument. This is how people need to be educated about this argument. You take the fact that I said that Palestine, there's going to be no state created whatsoever. Everyone knows that, right? But they have to say these things because of the political climate. Everyone knows that. The actions prove it. Everything, right? So the point is saying, so you take that position, and now you say you hate Palestinians, you want them to be murdered, and this whole thing, and that is the intellectual dishonesty, and that's the.
Black Rabbi, is this the first time you've been in this room?
Wait. That's the emotional weaponization that you guys use around this cause. And anybody, oh, you're a baby killer. You're a baby killer.
Our baby's not being killed?
But this is the point. So the dynamic is saying that you guys weaponize emotions, and you've used it.
You weaponize weapons.
But the American people need to understand these arguments. That's my only point. They can decide what
they understand. That's why they're not with Israel anymore.
No, they don't understand. I have to educate them.
Go do it right now. Leave us alone.
Come down. The point is saying you guys use emotional weaponization to control people around your cause. It's a form of intellectual terrorism.
We don't have to.
Yeah.
Intellectual terrorism. We don't have to control emotions. We don't have to control emotions, Black Rabbi. We don't have to control anything. Actually, all people have to do is turn on social media and look at the videos that are going on.
That's part of the brainwashing. That's part of the brainwashing.
We didn't put the videos up there.
The
Israelis did. The IDF did.
Edward, can I ask a question, right? There's a movement within the MAGA, right, that doesn't like war right now, right? So let me ask you a question, right? Just pretend, I don't know where you're from, but just pretend you're American right now. Would you want Trump to put you? Okay, would you want Trump to put you into a war?
No, I don't know.
Hold on.
No, we're
This is Nancy Edward, please.
We're $35 trillion in debt.
Right. Okay. Forget the debt aside, right? Would you want to go into war that Trump told you to go into with let's say another country that could be less powerful than you? It's a simple question. You wouldn't want that, right?
No.
Okay. So let me ask you a question, right? Prior to October 7th, right, there was mass protests against Hamas, right? So let me ask you a question. Is it fair that Hamas forced the Palestinian people into a genocide conflict that they knew they probably likely wouldn't have won? Do you think that was fair to them? I'm asking him a question.
So we were already in a slow burn genocide to begin with.
No, I'm talking about Hamas making that decision for Palestinian people to start a conflict that they would not win, or a genocide, whatever you want to call them.
Okay, before October 7th, October 6th, and before, Palestinians were already being genocided.
Fair enough. Anytime. Sure.
This is the culmination of what happens when you go to genocide people.
And I agree with you. There were conditions prior to October 7th that there was always problems in this region, right? I agree with you. What I'm saying is Hamas took out all their enemies, right? And they monopolized representing the Palestinian people. And they started, maybe that's the wrong word, right? They responded.
Their enemies.
Yeah, okay, so, is Israel not their enemy?
Oh, okay. I don't understand what you're saying. Go ahead.
My point is that think you're thinking that I'm saying that it's not justified or anything. I'm not making the moral part of the conversation. That's what
You
Black is trying to
confused me
avoid.
about took out their enemies. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm just. It's a simple question. It's like, did Hamas make that decision for the Palestinians? Did they ask all Palestinian people that they were going to, get into a conflict, whether it's for a morally good cause or not? Like, do you think that any of them had reservations? Did they all want to be martyrs? Did they all want to be, part of a conflict? Because you right now wouldn't want Trump to make that decision for you and force you into a conflict, correct? But you seem to think that all Palestinian people want to be martyrs and forced into a conflict. Why is that?
Wait. So
That's a great argument.
it was for me.
Let us speak, Black Rabbi.
It was for me.
It's a great argument.
It was for me.
No, I'm curious.
Black Rabbi.
So
It's hypothetical.
in 2023, my two cousins that died on the by the IDF, they didn't choose to die. The thousands and tens of thousands of Palestinians have died since 1967 and to present. In the West Bank.
Forced conscription, right? With Israel, is that not?
Wait, no. Let me make it clear. My two cousins. One of them that was in his house when the Israelis came to his door and shot him dead, and my other cousin who was walking down the street and saw someone get shot and went to help him, and 20 years old and was shot in the head. Both passed away in 2023. No one asked them if they can live or die. Israel's not asking us Palestinians if we can live or die. They're only giving us one choice: to die.
So answer her question.
They're killing us.
Would you, Black Rabbi?
Hold on, because I would ask the same thing for Israeli people. Right?
I'm showing.
I know. I'm not trying to say equivalent. Why is everything equivalent?
I don't understand what you're what it is supposed to do.
Let me answer.
Wednesday, that's my point.
Hypothetical.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to do?
They have no choice. They have to go into the conflict. Yes, that's my point. They have no choice. That's what happens, right? When you're not under a democracy, right?
No. That has something to do with a democracy.
Or not democracy, or any regime.
No. Let's say hypothetically, Palestine was a democracy, but
it doesn't have to be a democracy. Yeah, I'm not.
By Israel, okay? It has nothing to do with.
I never said that they have to be under Israel. No. That's not my point.
Democracy.
I feel like
Wednesday, can I talk, please?
I feel like you're making it seem that
Wednesday. Yeah.
I feel like you're making it seem as if they're killing their own children. Like even what's his name down there? I feel like you're agreeing.
I never said that. No, I never did, because I'm gonna make the same argument. I'm gonna make the same argument on the other side, right? Israeli people, right? No, hold on. I'm asking hypothetical questions. I don't want to.
This lady ask questions so we know what she's talking about.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so it's just questions, please. So with Israeli people too, right? Because I looked it up, right? There is a lot of I think they have this mandatory conscription, right? Where a certain age you have to be a part of the military, right? And this is why there's been a lot of backlash against Netanyahu as well, right? Are we assuming, right? Because we're from the outside, right? Maybe Edward, I don't think you are, right? But for the rest of us, we're from the outside. Are we assuming every Israeli supports Netanyahu, and are we assuming everyone supports Hamas, or are these kind of situations, in a way, inevitable, like this clash that ended up happening, right? And so my thing is that what I don't get with people that live in America and other countries is that you don't want war, you don't want Trump to send your children into war, but yet you are cheering for other countries that don't have a say, really. They really don't have a say. In Sudan, in Palestine, in Israel, in Syria, in all these countries, they don't have a choice. Exactly. So I'm not trying to paint any group as, same with the Houthis, all of these people. I have family in Yemen as well, Edward, right? So my thing is that they don't necessarily have a choice, right? This is what all I was trying to say. I'm not trying to paint one group or another. This is just their destiny.
Where I would clarify with you is the difference here is when war is brought to us or brought to a people, any people, how would they react anywhere? If the same thing happened to that has happened to the Palestinians, has been happening for decades to the Palestinians, happened to any other group of people on the planet, would they fight back? And because they're not Palestinians, they do fight back, but they're not they're not how should I put it? They're not it's not portrayed as, oh, they must hate the people that are trying to kill them. They must be they must hate them. They must be racist. They must be doing it for religious purposes, not because you're literally attacking them. But with Palestinians, for us, we hate Jews. We we are barbarians. We're savages. Every excuse under the sun, except literally the occupation and the people that are attacking us as a reason for us attacking back or being violent against them. And so that's what I want to clarify, that is a distinction. Unfortunately, it's a distinction, a double standard that the world places on Palestinians that is not placing on other people. We know why the Sudanese are fighting. It's not because they're racist and barbaric. We know that people are attacking them. We know that outsiders are involved, and no one questions it. Like, no one says that the Sudanese people are bad people for fighting back. No one says that.
Edward, Afghanistan is a prime example. You have the British go 3 times, Russia and America. They never all went with strategy to winning that war. Afghanistan had nothing to do with 9/11. That's a prime example. It's a generation I think all of us can relate to. And they didn't give up. They sat for puppets in the government. They fought, and they fought till the end. Until 3 years ago, Afghanistan was under, a certain occupation. And now Afghanistan is free from the evil, from the Zionists. You talk to the Taliban, they say, my fight wasn't with America or Russia. Our fight was with the Yahud and Nasrallah, which is, they're going based off in the Quran. And that's what their fight was, and they didn't give up.
And the question is, will the people in Gaza, did they make the decision for October 7th?
He answered the question.
I answered it.
He answered the question.
The decision was made for them by Israel.
He answered the question. If you didn't like the question it's answered, that's your problem. That's a you problem. The decision was made by Israel and Hamas. I don't think it's right.
No, Hamas is not one group. It's not one group. It is made up of at least 15 resistance forces that have come together to work under one banner. It's not one. So
hold on. He answered the question. Yes. But no, hold on. Wednesday, right? Because I think the conversation now is shifting into whether it was a just war. Right? I think that's what you're trying to say. Right? Was it justified? You're making me lost. The way you think is making me lost. Because you're a type of person that waffles a lot. Okay? You waffle a lot. That's not my intention. Is it a just war that you don't want to be oppressed and suppressed? Hell yeah, it's a just war. Lizzie, let me answer the question, right? Are there other oppressed people? What does that got to do with the price of tea in China? Yes, in the Congo, there is. Yes, in Sudan, there is. Yes. So if you were oppressed, you would go to war? You would go to war if you're oppressed. White people did. Hold on. Fair enough. Mike, when America won Puerto Rico after the Spanish-American War, Puerto Ricans resisted. They resisted to the bitter end. What is wrong with resisting? I have a problem with resisting. Do you think that everybody needs to just put the white flag and says, "Oh, you're stronger than I am"? So we need to take care of it. Yeah, I'm not trying to. No, don't. I'm not trying to confuse you or like I never made a war argument. I didn't paint one group as bad or anything. I didn't say any of that, right? My group of people also resisted, right? So you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to paint Palestinian people. I think the problem is there's been so much coverage that anytime people talk about this, people automatically assume that you have this type of opinion. I'm Muslim.
Like you,
My people are painted as savages too. So I understand.
right? So what I don't understand is what your agenda is.
No, my
We
agenda is
understand what she's saying.
No, he's not talking.
Can I explain one thing what I mean, and I'll tell you what I mean. You have people in America. Oh my God, we have people in America, okay, who are anti-war, right? Who want to cheer on Palestinian people, right, or whatever. And for me, the reason it rubs me off the wrong way is because they make it seem as if people are enjoying this or that they're like, you know, and it's like this is the fate that was like put on them. This was, you know, like what did Lincoln say? There's a time for war and there's time for peace, right? And my thing is that the people who are very anti-war and Trump, that group, they don't want war, but they want to cheer on other people. This is the times we're in, the modern times we're in, where we don't want to fight our wars, but we're willing to finance other people to fight our wars. And I think that's cowardly. I think it's cowardly.
Americans been doing that for a while.
Yes, and that's the issue I have. I've always had more of an issue with America. I'll be honest, I'm biased. I have more of an issue with America. I have more of an issue with these rich countries who are using Ukraine, Palestine, and stuff as cannon fodders. That's my issue. That's my bias.
Well, yeah, the reason why America is using Ukraine is because they want to destroy Russia. We know that Russia, and because Russia's an enemy to America, and they figured if they take out one, then the only thing they have to worry about is China with Taiwan.
Right, but do you see how you rationalize this without getting emotional and thinking? I could have clearly, like, someone could have said, well, you know, what do you think of Chinese people? They're not savage, they're not. But you were able to tell me about it.
I didn't understand why you asked. My problem was if you would have to ask everybody else in the panel, I could have understood the hypothetical. But the fact that you asked Edward, who's a Palestinian himself, who has lost family members there,
I didn't know that.
that was what threw me off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I honestly did not know that. He went into it.
This room is being a conversation of the Palestinian.
I understood.
I assumed that everyone was Palestinian. I'm sorry for saying
No, it's
Although it's American,
that's my white voice. No, that's right. No, I do want to make a point here, which does get me pissed off. Because he said Yemen. Yemen is literally throwing, shooting missiles at Israel right now, and nobody's saying that the Yemenis people are anti-Semitic or hate Jews. Nobody's saying that. I haven't heard that. And Yemen got into this with Israel because to support the Palestinians. So Israel wasn't directly like they weren't attacking Yemen, but Yemen decided to attack to support Palestinians, and nobody's even saying anything about them and saying that they're not. I think that they're anti-Semitic. I mean, there's Jews in Yemen, but nobody's saying anything about the Yemenis people hate Jewish people.
No, I think they.
This is a religious war. This is to religion, and we need to kill them because that's what Islam says. That we need to kill all the Jews. But this is exactly what is said when it comes to Palestinians, and we're the ones being occupied.
I think that the Yemenis, anyone who talks about what's happening in Gaza right now, they are getting this from the Zionists. I don't think it's just exclusively for Palestinians. I get your point, but it's not necessarily true because for me as someone who's not Palestinian, when I speak about that kind of stuff, I do get this whole you hate Jews and you're anti-Semite. I don't think that's fair to say, to be honest.
In that respect, you're right.
But the people themselves, even the news, or whatever, there's a conversation about what's happening, what the Yemenis are doing in Israel. Israel, like they do get the smoke. They do call them anti-Semite. They do say that they.
But I don't hear them say, that's the thing though, in the news, the media, I don't hear them saying that the Yemeni people are anti-Semitic or they're going after Israel because they're Jews. I don't
I've heard it as well. I don't know if you haven't heard it, but I have heard it.
That's definitely that's
we spent, Israel has spent decades convincing the world that the reason that we are attacking Israel is because we hate Jews, and it's just what we want to do, and we would rather kill a Jew. We love killing Jews more than our own children. I think that's Golda Meir who said that, and so we are in the last decade or so have started
Ongoing visibility is being lacked with audio, values transparency, seeks to shape this public narrative more closely, targets a broader, younger audience through video platforms. So it's just like he's trying to train himself with our content.